All right, welcome back to the Reshape Your Life podcast. Today we have a special in-studio guest, my friend and client, Brion Rodgers.
Hello.
Brion, thanks for taking time to be here. I want to start off by bragging on you a little bit. You've been doing the Reshape program for the past 3 months. In that time, you've lost 24 pounds of body fat, gained 6 pounds of muscle. Mm-hmm. Your health has improved, your appearance has improved. Every metric is getting better by the day. What has that experience meant to you?
Oh, it's been tremendous. It's meant so much. I wanted to be a little bit more healthy. I wanted to look better. I wanted to get rid of some fat. I wanted to put some muscle on, and this did all of that for me. And it's continuing to, and we're going to continue this relationship. We're going to continue to grow in this. But my health has improved tremendously. It's just been a great experience.
That's awesome. Well, I love the fact that we have become friends throughout all of this. Mm-hmm. You've referred coworkers to me, and I appreciate that. Got 2 people in the loop right now that are friends of yours or acquaintances of yours that are doing metabolomics testing. I'm going over all of their reports to see, if we can address some issues with targeted supplementation and so forth. So that has been phenomenal. I use an immersive style of coaching. I like to become friends with my clients on Facebook and follow their social media channels to see what's really going on in their lives and their, people that they're connected with to really get a better feel for where they're at. You've been a big part of the closed Facebook group, the Reshape Your Life group.
Sure.
And I think that's, part of the strength of the program is using some of this technology. And it's not just like meeting a trainer at the gym and they just kind of tell you what they recommend, and you don't have a system for tracking it. So let's just start right there. What have been some of the major defining attributes of this program that are different than what you've done in the past? Because I know you've worked with other coaches and trainers before.
So I think the biggest thing was like 2 or 3 main topics here. I think that one of the biggest ones is the fact that we're able to work together. You're able to teach. We have an app that you can track what we're doing, how we're doing it, what our improvement is, what our processes are. And it's very easy, and it's easy to track, and it's easy to watch, and it's easy, you watch your numbers and you can see your gains. And, it makes you happy when all the effort you put in, you see all these gains that are starting to come out of it. And it kind of keeps you on track and makes you want to keep going with it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're using the word track, because what you're referring to, for the audience members who don't know, this is the Fast Track Fitness app. This has been in development for the past 2 years. I never aspired to be an app developer, but I guess I can put that on my resume now because I've customized a mobile, on-demand, remote coaching platform. And I'm rolling that out to other coaches now who are getting certified in my methodology to handle some of the clients, because we've got a huge influx of people coming in. It's getting beyond what I can personally handle. But fortunately, I do have a team. Like I said, they're certified and we're ready to go. So that Fast Track Fitness app, that's where the Reshape program lives. And what we've been doing, the big 3 that you get through the app interaction, I try as much as possible for remote or on-demand client, like our audience members, for example, to get the same experience that you're getting as an in-person client. This is something that I developed out of necessity, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the big 3 are guidance, education, and community. So we're going to talk a little bit about each one of those. And, specifically, let's just start with the guidance aspect, having an exact plan versus just trying to figure it out.
And that's huge, and when you go into something and it's like, hey, we're just going to go and we're going to work out. Well, you're all over the place because, you don't have a goal. You don't know what your goal is. Right. So, we come in and we sit and talk, and it's like, what are you trying to achieve? And it's like, well, and we went through the things that I want to achieve, and we're in a process of doing all of that. And it's the best way to do it is you create your plan, and then you work towards that goal, and it's guided by you. And then as you move through the plan, you can adjust it and to exactly what you need to keep you on track, to keep you going in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's to me, it's huge.
And you had a specific deadline. That's, the coaching aspect of things beyond the workout, the meal plan, the supplementation. Those are the major elements. But the psychology of change is something that I know very well firsthand, because I was obese at one time my entire life up until about 10 years ago. I cracked that code and I took that to the masses in the form of books and resources that I've created over the years, the podcast, the YouTube channel. So to me, I see technology as basically a tool to replicate what I'm doing for a virtual audience that could be anywhere at any time. And you mentioned having a goal. So I want to start with that because, when I encounter a potential client or a new gym member, let's say, I always ask what your goal is. Sometimes people are very vague. They say they just want to get better or they want to tone up or get in shape. Those are great concepts, but we use the InBody biometric screening device to get exact data that we track on a weekly basis so we can identify a goal. You had a deadline. What is your deadline?
So I like this. Thank you. So going through this, we set up 2 deadlines, 2 goals. So I had an event that I needed to be present for and give a speech, and I wanted to be in decent shape. I wanted to look better for this. So there's a lot of people that were at this. So I was kind of self-conscious about it because I was kind of letting myself go before that. And I was like, hey, can you help me with this? He's like, yes. And you said, absolutely. So we had a date. I said, by this date, I want to be at this weight. And this is where I want to go with this.
Right.
But what I didn't understand is I was trying to hit a low weight target. And what we did is we took that target of where I wanted to be, but you ended up in the word reshaping, it comes in because you ended up reshaping me.
Yeah.
So it was, there was times that I was getting frustrated. I'm like, look, I said, I'm losing weight. I'm not losing weight I want to be. And I remember a guy came to me one time and said, look at my body scan. This is not good. And you're like, this is great. And I'm like, no, I only lost 2 pounds. And you're like, Brian, you lost 6.5 pounds and you gained 4.5 pounds of muscle.
Right.
He said, what do you want?
Right.
But when you just get on a scale and you're not tracking the way you should track,
that's right.
You're just like, I did all this work and I lost 2 pounds. But no, it's such a huge difference that week.
Well, and I want to mention to our audience, since you brought it up, virtual on-demand clients can visit InBodyUSA.com. You can search your zip code and find an InBody machine in your location, do a scan, email it to me, and I can go over your numbers, whoever you are, wherever you are. So, just like I do with my in-person clients like you.
And I think that's great because that's really the key. That you can reach so many people this way. I was on a business trip just not long ago, and I ran into a friend of mine that I haven't seen in years. He's like, Brian, he says, you look great. He says, what are you doing? I said, well, let me tell you. So I started down this journey of explaining to him, and we were having dinner as a business dinner, and we were done. And I gave him some information. I gave him your contact information. I didn't even realize he became a client of yours just while I was traveling back. But I think what the whole point of this is he's looking at me because he knows what I used to look like and what I look like now. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
So I think a living testimony is just me standing there, and it's like when people can see the change that you went through, what you transformed from where you were to where you are now, this total reshaping, because this is what this is. It's not just losing weight. It's not just losing fat. It's losing fat, gaining muscle.
Right. And, were you on that business trip, since you have that Fast Track Fitness app, I was able to customize your workout based on where you were.
Exactly.
You had dumbbell workout you had to do one time. You had a hotel gym that you had to use another time. So there's an opportunity there. And as I mentioned earlier, I created this out of necessity because, selling personal training packages, supplying other trainers with clients, overseeing departments, which I've done at several gyms, what I found was there was an underserved area there for clients and members who were purchasing, 2 or 3 sessions per week. They were just meeting with their trainer for 2 or 3 sessions per week and neglecting the rest of the days on the calendar. And, one of my key principles is consistency before intensity. And I like to see people do exercise on a daily basis. Now, it's not practical for most people to pay a trainer 6 days a week. So I needed a method to give people a program. If we're only meeting twice a week, what are you going to do the other 4 days? This solves that problem. And you don't just have to write it down or try to interpret it.
It's in the app.
There's photos, there's videos, there's audio overdubbed with me explaining it to you just as if I was there with you.
Yeah. And what I like about that too is if you forget there's so many different machines out there. And if you're traveling like I was, and you go to an offsite gym or even the hotel gym, there's some, but it's like the machine's different. It looks different, but you can watch the video, watch your coaching, watch what you're saying, and you can do the workout that you need to do with basically any of the gym equipment that you have available.
Yeah. And it's, it's accountability, going back to the guidance aspect, the accountability of this. I thought, moving from holistic nutrition coaching, which was my world for 10 years before I got into personal training at the gym, I thought personal training was going to be a lot of technique, exactly how to do the lifts and so forth. That is an aspect, but more than anything, people need the accountability. They need to know that someone is there. They have a plan. They're going to push you to do a higher performance level than you probably would push yourself. These are all key parts of that guidance aspect. I had a client, and I think she's probably going to do one of these interviews pretty soon. Rebecca lost 65 pounds. She worked with myself and another coach, Danny. He's part of our team. Her daughter lost about 80 pounds.
Nice.
And they both relied on that metric to drive that performance of having someone there to hold them accountable.
Right. And it's the consistency part too, because you can't do it. Like you can't have a trainer 5 days a week. You just can't. No. So just so the audience knows, it's like we're together 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. So I still have Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays that I want to come in. I still want to do something. And as long as the consistency, as long as I'm there, and you have like, hey, Brian, when you come in here on your off days that I'm not with you, do this, this, and this. Right. And when I started to do that is when my gains really started to come through. Right. And it's really starting to show. It's really starting to produce some great benefits now.
Well, and the same thing goes for the meal planning, tracking tools, the shopping guides, the food guidelines, the recipes, and all those things that are part of this program. Being able to keep an eye on what people are eating. Okay. Sure. And I developed that because when I do a body scan with someone, all I know is what they did in that hour and a half that we were together in the gym. I have no idea what the other 23 and a half hours of your day looks like other than this record. So when I'm trying to troubleshoot what's going on with your progress, why are you not making, well, this was never a problem with you, but sometimes clients don't make maximum progress. All right, let's look at your food journal. Well, are we getting photos of the meals?
Yeah. So, but to speak to that, it wasn't a problem with you, but it was a problem in the past.
Okay.
So what happened is I would come into the gym and I would work out with the trainer in the past, and I would do what I needed to do, and then I would leave, and then I didn't bring in the nutrition side to this. Right. And I remember one of my aha moments with you was in the beginning. I said, "Hey, Jason, so you see these two guys? They're brothers. They're only about 2 years apart. So they come in every day. They do the same exercises. They do the same weights. They do the same everything, but they look completely different. And maybe they wanted to. I think, one was very shredded and the other was very bulky and very stocky. And I said, don't look now, but they're right. I said, but tell me why. Right. And basically you said it's because of what they're eating. They're eating different things. Yep. And I said, well, explain that. So once and that was in the second session, we were just getting to know each other. And once you brought that aspect into this, and it's look, it's your macros. Yep. You have to hit your macros. I'll set macros up for you, but not only will I set them up for you, I'll explain it. I'll show you, I'll teach you. And we'll go from there. Yeah. And that's how you go forward. So once you did that for me is when the transformation, the reshaping really took effect.
Well, that whole aspect of it, what to eat, when to eat, those are much more important than the how much. If you get the meal timing and the quality right, the how much or the quantity takes care of itself.
Exactly. I never thought that possible until I started doing, and this is as we go through. In the beginning, I like the fact that you just got me on track. Yep. You got me moving in the right direction. Hey, Brian, here's your macros. Try and hit your macros. Right. Good. So I tried and I kind of failed and I kind of got on track. And the more I got on track and the higher my protein was, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, the higher my muscle gains are. I'm like, hey, this is how this works. And as long as my carbs were low, and then I started keeping my carbs low, medium fat, just following what your advice was, and it took off from there.
Yeah, and that whole protein leverage, that's still relatively new in the scientific world. Just within the past 10 years or so, have we discovered that protein intake drives appetite to a huge extent. So we're, like you said, prioritizing more of the right things, limiting the things that we know we shouldn't be doing, having a strategy to eat less calories instead of just telling people, hey, eat less calories, right?
Yeah.
This is where the rubber meets the road. How do you do that? This is the same way I do it. And you were super excited about the fact that my clients are able to, just like myself, enjoy all of your favorite foods on a weekly basis. Look, you're getting a smile just thinking about it. Okay, so yeah,
I'm sorry. Let me.
I know you got some epic cheat meals. I've seen your food journal. But we're going to share with people just how that's possible. How can you continue to make this progress while still eating things that are off plan? I'm not one of these fake influencers that wants to make you think you have to be perfect 100% of the time.
No,
you don't.
So here's the funny thing. So I had a business trip out of town.
Yeah.
And I went 2 different cities. And the nice thing is my daughter lives in one of the cities, so I was able to see her, spend some time with her. We went out to dinner once, and then once she cooked a meal. Plus, I'm like eating like not as I normally would, not as clean as I would, and all this other stuff. But I still follow the plan. And I used one of the days with her as a carb reload day. So here I am at her house. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to have this opportunity very often. She's a good cook, so she cooked. But we had pumpkin pie. We had burgers with these giant ciabatta rolls, and I'm half Italian, so I love the bread aspect of everything.
Sure.
And I came home and I'm thinking, this isn't going to be good, and I still lost 2 pounds.
Yeah. Yep.
And gained a half a pound of muscle just in that week I was gone.
Strong statement. Under the right conditions, those so-called cheat meals are beneficial. They don't take you away from your goal. They slingshot you forward. You take 2 steps back, or you take a step back, you take 2 steps forward.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're going to get, I'm going to need a Boston cream donut, a pumpkin pie, and this giant ciabatta roll. And I'm going to have to pay for this when I get back. Yeah. That's, like you said, that slingshotted me into this, and it was amazing. Really.
Yeah, it's a cyclical ketogenic diet. That's very term specific, but this is what bodybuilders did. This is in the trenches. Science is usually 10, 15 years behind the researchers, the real in the trenches researchers. Back in the 60s and 70s. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno and all these big names in the industry, they were eating a low carb diet 5 or 6 days a week, and then they would just go down to the diner and eat like a whole pie and
eat everything,
quart of ice cream, and they found that got better results. So it works in the real world.
Yeah, but it's like, in the beginning, it's like, how's that going to work? That's impossible. That can never work.
Yeah,
it works. I'm here sitting here with you right now to say,
you heard it here, folks. This is an unsolicited testimonial from an actual successful client.
It worked. And even to the point where I ran into a friend of mine I haven't seen for like 10, 12 years. Right?
Oh, wow.
And talking to him, we went out to dinner, had a business dinner. We're sitting there, we're talking, and he says, let's get this mini pizzas and appetizer. And I'm like, sure. Like before, I'd be like, no, I can't do that.
Diet.
But it was, so we had this little mini pizza, and then we had our regular meals. But I'm thinking that's going to destroy everything. It destroyed nothing.
Right. It destroys the obstacles to your goal.
But then from talking to him and him asking me, so, I mean, I think, like I said, you gained a client out of this without even meaning, like we talked about it, and he got in touch with you, and it's great.
Well, a satisfied client is always the best form of advertising. I did regional training and development for a huge company in the nutrition world. And one of the principles I came up with was what I call R squared, and that is repeat business and referral. So when you make a transformation, you're a walking billboard for my coaching business. Yeah, people see what you did. They want to know, how did you do this?
Yeah, and I never thought it was going to work. Because I see myself every day in the mirror.
Yeah.
And so what I see is very subtle, if any. I don't see a lot.
Right.
This guy's like, hey, Brian, I remember you from way back. He goes, you used to be a lot bigger. And I'm like, well, thanks. But, but he says, what'd you do? And then he's like, hey, we'll talk. But he says, we got to be back for this at this time. You got time to go to have dinner with me? I'm like, yeah. So we went and had dinner, and this is what our whole discussion was about.
Yeah. Well, so this is all part of the education aspect. Here's what you may have believed, but here's the truth of the matter. Now, I have recorded hundreds of YouTube videos, and if people are remote or on-demand coaching client, they can watch those videos. They can comment. I will do a Q&A video if I get enough questions about something, or I'll just do it custom for a member or a client rather. And that's part of the community aspect as well. But we got about 10 minutes or so remaining here. I want to shift gears a little bit and get into the supplementation side of things, because that, I think, you were already getting great results. But once we added targeted supplementation, it exploded.
Sure.
And my analogy there is, if the fire's already burning and you pour gasoline on it, it's going to start a huge blaze, right?
Sure.
If you take a pile of sticks and pour gasoline on it, nothing's going to happen.
You got to
already have a fire going. So the Glucose Supreme was the main one. And I want you to just talk a little bit about what your experience has been with taking Glucose Supreme and what you got out of it.
So first I want to start off by, like, when I eat clean, I eat healthy, I watch the carbs, I watch the macros, and then I do all this. But then there's sometimes you don't realize, even something just normal like innocence, like I love green beans. That's just me. I could eat 3 or 4 cups of green beans. One cup of steamed green beans has 6 grams of carbs.
Right.
I'll eat 3 or 4 at a sitting. I mean, 25, 30 grams of carbs just in there. So what do I got to do something about that, or it's going to get me off track.
Right.
So the Glucose Supreme, on a maintenance level, when I'm in my low carb, I don't do the green beans like that all the time, but so I'll take one of those pills, right? I'll take 25% of the allotment. I'll just take one just maintenance every day. Right. So, but when I went on this business trip, I know I was going to see my daughter. I know that I was going out to dinner a couple of times. So I brought my supplement with me. And on those days, I took the full 100%, which would be 3 more. So I took 4 of those, and that propelled me. I came back after a week of not working out at all. I shouldn't say that. A couple days on the treadmill, light workout from what you gave me, but I'm talking 20 minutes in the gym. That's it. And I still lost 2 pounds, 2.25 pounds, and I gained a half a pound of muscle that week. It was huge.
Well, and the science behind that Glucose Supreme, and it's all herbal, all natural product. It puts you in fat burning mode in 30 minutes. As soon as that glucose is cleared from the bloodstream, we can go back to burning fat. That's our default. That's what we're trying to do.
Yep.
So yes, it does allow you to indulge. You said you did it with green beans. I like to use it with like French fries and pizza crust and things like that.
When I was with my daughter, I was I had like I said, a pumpkin pie, and I had those Boston cream donuts. So I'm thinking, I'm going to pay for this, and it worked out great.
Yeah. It's like rocket fuel, basically. That, and you've been real excited about using the aminos and the nitric oxide boosters, the arginine, citrulline. I won't bore everybody with the ingredients, but
so what I did is I started taking BCAAs, right? And it's a great drink. And the funny thing is with a drink too, it's it tastes very sweet, so it takes care of that craving that you have. So I'll drink it 30 minutes before the workout, or start at 30 minutes and kind of drink it through the workout sometimes. And it gives me nice results. It keeps me motivated, keeps me fresh. And I'll explain why in a second. But then I'll take the nitric acid. So the nitric acid opens up your blood vessels. Some days you go to the gym, I work some long hours. I'll see you twice a week. During the week, I'm tired, I'm beat, I had a busy work day. I get to the gym, but right before I leave work, I'll take the BCAAs. I'll start that, and I'll start the nitric oxide. I'll take that. So when I get to the gym, I'm still tired, I'm beat. But once I start working out, and I'll do like a 30-minute cardio before I get to you, because you got other clients, so I'll do that, and I'm really refreshed as I go through this. It opens everything up, it gets everything moving, and I'm not tired, I'm not sluggish anymore, and I feel a lot better. And then by the time I get to you, I'm really ready to rock and roll there.
Well, the nitric oxide is great because it's a vasodilator. It opens up blood vessels. It allows more blood flow to the working muscle. Blood delivers oxygen and nutrients to the working muscle. So it is a performance booster as well. But, it also looks good in the mirror. That mind muscle connection
come through.
Looking a little vascular there. It's great from an aesthetic standpoint, but it's also functional. And it's something that a lot of people just don't know about. I have some stock protocols that are, pretty much guaranteed for anybody who does it. But what I really like to do is put a targeted, exclusive supplement regimen together for 100% customized for someone. Fortunately, I do have testing tools that I can use now. I mentioned earlier, I've got people doing the metabolomics testing We're looking at all the biomarkers to see which areas are affected and getting a real protocol together that addresses exactly what's going on with that. And your test kit is in the lab right now. We're going to get together by video in about a week, and we're going to go over your results and see, how are things according to what we've been doing already. But we're not going to guess about the next level of your program. We're going to have exact guidance on what we're talking about. And you're going to save, because you're a client, you're saving 25% off the cost of those supplements just by being a client or member with me.
It pays for the membership.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you look at like what you're lacking in these biomarkers, and it's like, hey, Brian, you're really low on, I'm just arguing because I don't know what it is, but like magnesium,
whatever it is,
D3 or something, you have the herbal supplements to correct this.
Absolutely.
So we can definitely go in that direction.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to keep headed in the right direction here. So the main thing that was driving you was you had a wedding you were going to attend. Your son is getting married.
Yes.
And when is that? In about a week or two?
It's
coming up?
On 20, in about 10 days from right now.
All right. So, well, you're on track to get there. We already know what you're going to do in the next 7 days is roughly 1% of your body weight per week, which you've been consistent the entire time we've done this program. I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to shout out again, just in case people are joining us late here. You lost 24 pounds of body fat and gained 6 pounds of muscle in 3 months.
Just shy of 90 days, so like 86 days.
The biggest pat on the back that I can get, or the biggest reward that I get from working with clients, is when I see a client is successful with the program. But it takes two. If I'm the greatest coach in the world and you're not following the program, you're not going to get results. If you're super ambitious and I don't know what the heck I'm talking about as a sort of trainer or coach, you're not going to get the results. But when those two come together, you got the right conditions, amazing things can happen, and you're living proof of that.
I think it's about building a relationship.
Absolutely.
And I was telling my friend in Minneapolis, I was the client, and that you ended up with, and he says, "Oh, this is really a shame that I can't do that because I don't live where you live." I said, "Well, this is great because you don't have to."
Right.
I said, "You can follow these steps." I said, "He can be in touch. He can coach. He can talk. He can teach." And he can be right there, videos for the weights you need, and it's great. And I think that's what sold him. He was on board like right now.
Yeah, it's the Fast Track Fitness app. It's on demand. It's remote. It's wherever you are, whenever you are. Getting rid of barriers and obstacles to success. Just leveling the playing field for everyone, and giving other people out there an experience like the one you've had, just like an in-person, one-on-one coaching client would get on a weekly basis. So that's what I'm striving to offer here. Anybody who's watching or listening, if you visit, there will be a link in the show notes or wherever you're watching or listening to this. You can start a free trial. You go to reshapehealthandfitness.com, send me an email, or visit direct.me/reshape. Start your free trial. Become a client. You get 7 days worth of programming, macros, meal guides, everything that you could need to be successful, along with the workouts. See whether it's right for you or not. The program pricing is very flexible. I'm running some specials right now, so the cost is not going to be the reason you can't do it. If you're listening, you can become a member with me, become a client with me, get the type of success that Brian has got. Again, I thank you so much for just coming over today and
you're quite welcome.
Get in front of the mic with me and get in front of the camera. I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell all your friends and family, what your experience has been, and what hopefully you would want them to be able to do something similar. So,
absolutely. I think it's one of the best things I've done. It's
the ripple effect.
Like I said, I've done the weights in the past, but I was never able to really understand the nutrition until you explained it to me the way you did. And then when those two came together, then now we're going to get to the supplements is going to be just tremendous.
Yes.
So I'm really excited.
That's a good word for it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just end the broadcast here today. And thank you again, Brian, for coming. If any of my other clients are watching or listening, and you want to share your success story with a larger audience, I'll be happy to sit down with you and do something similar. We're going to go ahead and end the show. This is my low-tech editing. Until next time, stay strong and enjoy the journey.